Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex. This is the Ramble. We go until midnight tonight on the East Coast of the United States of America. Once again, it's time for the lovely strains of Larry Bubbles Brown. And how are you going to depress us today, Larry?
Well, let's see. Last time I depressed you on the economy. Now, what could I dig up? Everything's fine.
Well, didn't you used to say we're all going to die?
We're all going to get old and die.
Yeah, that's pretty much your theory in life, right?
Well, we're halfway there now. We got the old covered. So.
Yeah, we got the old covered, and die is only a matter of whether you get the COVID or not.
Yeah, I found out a couple of people I knew from comedy in the 80s, they were younger than me, they died this year, I just found out. And every time you find out someone that died, it's kind of, it brings it home.
When it happened, when I see friends who die, I go, well, there's another one, like I had, in my whole life, I had 3 best friends, okay? 2 of them are now dead. And my third one, my other one, Shecky, I keep telling him, you just better not fucking die. Come on. Otherwise, I have nobody to call.
And I want to meet Shecky. I've never met him.
Never met Shecky. No?
He's a legend. I want to see his baseball card collection.
He's supposedly got a great one. I wouldn't know. I don't care that much about baseball cards, but he tells me he has a pretty great collection, And he doesn't sell any of this stuff. I know guys who collect this stuff, but then they sell them. They have a business out of it. He doesn't do that. I know a guy that's into buying he buys comic books, and then he holds on to them for like 20 years, and then he sells them, and they sell for an incredible amount of money.
That's smart.
And, we always make a big deal about how dumb he is and blah, 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 blah. He's smarter than the rest of us. He knew exactly what to do. He bought up the stuff, and all because he loved it, So, anyway.
Did you ever have any of those rare comics when you were a kid?
The only thing rare in comics that I had, and then I let them all go the way, probably they wound up in a garbage can somewhere, where I used to collect 3D comic books like crazy, and when I was a kid. And then when I got older and I was living in San Francisco, I started buying them back up. So somewhere I do have a nice collection of 3D comic books somewhere.
Well, those got to be worth something.
I have no idea. Shecky, who is into collecting stuff, says that, to me, that something is only worth as much as people are willing to pay for it.
That's true.
In other words, if something's rare, it's fine that it's rare. How much will it get? Well, it's only going to get as much as people are willing to pay for it. And if they're dying to have that, Like I've got a postcard here from John Lennon, okay, that John wrote a personal note to me on a postcard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have it framed. I don't know how much it's worth. I have no idea how much it's worth. It has something where he talks about, I hope I was okay on your show. I had enough trouble last year. It had some personal notes and then a little drawing that he put on there. Okay? So I don't know how much that's worth. Shecky one time told me it's probably worth about $25,000. But we don't know that it's worth it today. It's only, if I put it out there and I said, okay, who wants to buy this? Who's going to pay the most? Start bidding. Then I would have an idea of how much it's worth, because it's only worth as much as people are willing to bid on it.
Well, you should see if there's any John Lennon memorabilia online.
That's what I should do. Yeah. Oops. Somebody's calling me on my phone. But do you hear that ring?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's off my watch. I forgot to put my watch on quiet. So let me just take it off and put it in my thing to recharge it, because I have to recharge it every day. Anyway, so
well, that sounds like a great piece to have that.
Yeah, but people say, "Would you sell it?" And I go, "What? How much you want to pay?" If it's enough money, sure, I'll sell it. And people go, well, "Why would you sell it?" I said, "When I'm dead, it doesn't matter whether I have this or not."
Yeah.
I mean, does it hold great memories for me? No, not really. It's not a keepsake. Nothing like that. So if anybody wants to buy my postcard from John Lennon, $25,000, it's yours.
And there's also a something like that. There's probably a time where that peaks because younger people probably don't even know who the Beatles are.
Exactly. Shecky said to me, for some reason, my audio stopped recording, and we just picked it up. So we were talking about
John Lennon's ghost stopped the recording.
We were talking about kids remembering John Lennon. And Shecky mentioned to me that there are people who don't even know who John Lennon was.
Sure.
And you think about it and you go, well, what do you mean? Well, when did he die? He died maybe, 20 years ago?
1980.
1980. So 80?
40 years ago.
He died 40 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody who's 30 might not even know who John Lennon is or care who John Lennon is.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody 40 probably wouldn't care who John Lennon is because he was just born at the time he died. So, I've heard those Beatle records. I know what they are. But no, this notion that everybody knows who John... I used to say that I had a test for women I would go out with. They were too young if they couldn't name all 4 Beatles.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, because usually they got John, and they got Paul, and they got Ringo. But the one they hardly ever got was George. So if they couldn't name all 4 Beatles, that's it. Go somewhere else. I don't care how good you can blow me. You don't get to touch.
That shows you how elusive fame is.
Well, I mean, we tend to think that certain people are. A lot of people like ourselves talk about Kennedy as president of the United States and blah 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 blah. And where were you when Kennedy died? Well, in most cases, most of the people around today weren't even around when Kennedy was shot. So, they don't have any waxing poetic about it. They go, Trump is the worst president we've ever had. But we've had some pretty bad presidents over the years.
Oh, yeah, Warren Harding and U.S. Grant.
Yeah, the people you and I remember.
That Harding was a real stinker.
Yeah, he was a real stinker. But
who died in San Francisco, by the way.
Yes, he died at the St. Francis Hotel.
Right.
Some people believe he was murdered.
Poisoned, yes.
Yeah, poisoned. He was on a trip to Alaska. Was that it?
Right. Good knowledge. And he died right here on.
And did he get sick when he got to San Francisco, or was he?
I think he got sick on the ship, and they brought him in here.
Yeah,
a little murky, as I recall.
What? But
because he was involved in a huge scandal, the Teapot Dome, and.
Yeah, but here's the question: if he was dying on the boat, they took him to the St. Francis Hotel.
The St. Francis, or was it the other one?
I think it was the St. Francis Hotel. Oh, Palace Hotel. It was the Palace Hotel.
Yeah, that was it, right.
Yeah, the St. Francis Hotel was Fatty Arbuckle.
That was Arbuckle. They didn't need another. About the same time, too. They didn't need another one.
Another person, by the way, that nobody out there remembers, and quite frankly, I wouldn't remember it if I weren't so obsessed with what went on before I was born. So I knew about. I knew about.
You know so much about film, yeah.
Yeah.
But the average person, there are people who I was talking to Dana Carvey once on some road trip. We were talking about some of these, like Jimmy Stewart, these people that had made amazing number of films, and no one knows who they are now.
Exactly. And he, and most people don't know. If I said to a kid today, Jimmy Stewart, they go, huh?
Yeah.
You know. Alfred Hitchcock. Meet Alfred Hitchcock movies. Who's that? You know, I mean, we take for granted that the whole world knows this stuff. I'll tell you what I always endeared me to somebody. I had a girlfriend who knew a lot about what went on before she was born because she had an older brother who told her about it. And then she was also interested in what went on before she was born. And I was the same way, you know. I mean, I was born in 1939, the best year ever for movies, by the way.
That was. Can you name? Like, I think I can name. I know you can.
Well, I can name, of course. Let's see here. Well, let's begin with Gone with the Wind.
Wizard
of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Mr. Smith.
I can't remember. Was Casablanca was 41. Maltese Falcon was not then. I'm trying to think of all the films that happened then, but there's a list of like about 20 films, 20 great films. That year was a banner year for great movies.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to remember them particularly because I think Citizen Kane may have come out in 39.
No, it's 41.
41? Okay. Anyway, maybe I'm going to backtrack now on 1939 being the best year ever for films. But no, it was.
39 was, but I mean, when you think like a couple years later, you had Casablanca and Citizen Kane. What a great era for movies.
It was the best time ever for creativity in film. You know, but also you got to remember, in that period of time, there was a massive amount of output. I mean, it was just extraordinary. So because of that massive amount of output, you had to have a massive amount of decent pictures. I mean, you got to remember when movie companies made movies. Do you know how many feature films they made a year? One a week.
A week?
Wow. They released one a week. Because what would happen is they would sell, they would have theaters play a movie, and then they had to have a movie to replace it. And movie theaters like to do a turnover every week. In fact, sometimes they did a turnover twice a week. I remember my local theater, Marin, I think had a turnover of 3 films a week. In other words, 3 double features a week. So there was a massive amount of stuff coming out.
I think they said in the 30s, 100 million people would go to the movies every week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the television of the time. So.
Mortzall told me, he said the writers were great. He said most of them were communists, but they were great writers.
Most of them were communists, but they were great writers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people in Hollywood were lefties,
Yeah.
I mean, Ronald Reagan was a fucking communist.
For a while,
yeah,
apparently.
For a while there. Yeah. And then he went and turned everybody in, and so he suddenly became okay, Not great. But anyway, so you're surviving the COVID.
Surviving the COVID, waiting to see if they're going to up the unemployment, which...
Yeah. Well, you certainly are unemployed.
Yeah. I mean, there's nowhere to work, so...
Yeah. But, you get to work here.
I do.
And we're paying you the big GabNet bucks.
You're the only one that'll have me, so I'll take that.
Yeah. And are you worried that if you ever have to go back to work, you don't know how to do it anymore?
I know I'm worried because I've done I did a set last week, an outdoor show, and I was pretty much lost at 10 minutes. So
yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's very common.
Every time no one's gone like 4 months without doing a set, and now everyone's freaking out.
Right. Well, before the recording stops again, why don't we just stop it voluntarily and get back to this in another week or so?
We shall, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Larry Bubbles Brown. Yay!
Ah.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
There's something smelling here. I'm okay. Here's what happens when I'm not doing the program. When I'm playing like Larry Bubbles Brown, I go to the bathroom and I go and I sit there and I make sure I pee and so on. Mainly because with this whole prostate thing that happened to me, every now and then I will get this urgency to urinate. So if I do it, I feel that if I do it like while the interview is on, I'm fine, right? So I'm in there, and all of a sudden, a light goes out, right? I don't know where. I haven't figured it out. And I look at, I don't know where it's coming from. I'm hearing creaking. And I look up at we have the sconce, right, with 2 lights in it in the bathroom. And one of them isn't lit, and smoke is coming out of it. So I quickly stopped doing what I was doing and walked there and undid the bulb, which was red hot. Now, these are LEDs, and they don't get red hot. There was smoke coming out of the top of it. Apparently, one of these LEDs decided to blow. And boy, and there's still, it let out with this kind of electric smell. And I got this electric smell going on here, and I can smell it right now. I mean, it's pathetic. So anyway, that's my story. And so then I went and I got another LED bulb, a newer kind, and I put it in there. But it's higher than the sconce, than the thing that holds, yeah, okay. So I had to go find another one that was like the one that just burned out, so I put that in there. The reason I have these things in there is they use up less electricity than a regular light bulb, and I figure I'm saving some money, okay? But, man, the smell is still, electric smell, and it just is not going away. But the sconce is fine. I put in a new bulb, worked fine. Okay. Anyway, also here's my newest, this is the second pair of these I bought in a month. These are the Soundpeats earphones, okay? And I have gotten to the point, and that's where the light changes when I get up close. I've gotten to the point where I just love these earphones so much that every time they come out with a new version of it, I have to get it. And this one is lighter and smaller, and it also has these little sponge things that I can squeeze and put in my ear, and they don't fall out, because the regular things do make it fall out of my ears. But the sound on this is incredible, and I don't know why anybody, this cost me $40. $40. That's it. Plain and simple. $40. And I don't know why anybody goes out and pays like $200 for those stupid iPhone, earplugs. Because the sound, I can't imagine the sound being better than this. I mean, the sound isn't going to be any better than MP3s are, which is really, if you ever heard CDs and then before that 78s and 33 RPMs and so on, MP3 is really crappy sound, but we've learned to dumb our hearing down. Anyway, I'm going to open up our Zoom line. See, I got a cough from this too. Boy, was it incredible. Hello, guys. How are you this evening?
We had a gas leak.
Wait a minute. First of all, Jeff, move your camera so we can see your face. You're getting to look like Tony. There we go. It's what we call the Tony effect. Wait a minute. You had a gas leak, right?
Yeah, we beat your smell. We had a gas leak. Luckily, I was in the building, like one exit down for this thing that we're doing. But I guess over at Twin Creeks, where they play all the baseball games, they have the San Bruno fires. They have PG&E has to do some purging of lines, and so they are purging these big 12-foot lines or something, but it sounded like a jet. They said they were releasing those valves. Wow. And the smell went right across the street and right to our building, so we had to evacuate our building.
Wow.
Yeah. I wasn't there, and I don't manage those guys anymore, so I was still smiling in the penthouse in Building 8, smiling.
Oh, okay. All right. That was at work, right? Not at home.
Yeah.
Not at home.
Yeah, at work.
Yeah, well, this thing, I don't understand it. I mean, these things don't burn hot. You can put your hand on them, right? This thing did whatever it did, and smoke started coming out of it. And
that was making ozone.
I undid it and put it down, and it was burning. It's still burning hot in there. I was going to bring it in here and show it to you, and I couldn't really pick the thing up. It started smoking. What did you say, ozone?
Yeah, that's the electric smell. When you get a short or something like that, the electricity makes oxygen three oxygen molecules.
I mean, in the bulb?
Yeah, because that's where the electrical short was, I'm sure.
Because I put a new bulb in there, and it's working fine. It's not the sconce. It's the bulb. Yeah. So I put another one just like it in there, so it can blow too like that. But
in about 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean the smoke that came out of it. I mean, come on. I thought these, at least with old light bulbs, the worst they ever did was sometimes they shattered. Yeah. Well.
As a kid working on cars in high school all the time, we'd go replace our stereos, and man, one of those things would short out, and all the smell from the plastic, on the insulation, and you'd be cruising, acting all badass, and then all of a sudden, all this smoke just starts coming from the bottom of the dash.
Wow.
This is the worst.
By the way, let me ask you a question. Do you remember last night's show, any of you? Okay.
Yeah.
Did anything horrible go on the show last night? Anything?
No.
Anything that would make a sponsor unhappy? All of a sudden,
Ludwig was not on the show.
Yeah, they demonetized that episode. The one not the one they recorded. That one got monetized. This time it was the recorded one, and I'm trying to think. What did we do that would be unacceptable?
So 2 nights ago was okay, but last night was bad?
2 nights ago was okay, but last night was bad. And
2 nights ago, Brian was on.
Only one of the two versions. I'm just thinking of stopping the whole monetization thing and saying, screw them. Screw them. Because they do make some money off of me when I monetize. They make a lot of money because they get the majority of it.
Sure.
They run the commercials.
Funny.
But what makes me mad though? Please, people, if you're on what do you call it on YouTube, don't say that you want to have 3, a commercial in the middle of the show. Because they always drop it in some place where it's completely out of context. The guy be saying, and then I went to and then all of a sudden here comes an ad for insurance, and you go back to it, and he finishes the story. I mean, just don't. You can control that. You don't have to ask for it. Today I was watching Cuomo, his daily thing. In the middle of it is a commercial, and I'm going, why did the state of New York decide to say, okay, let's do a commercial? Hey, look who's here.
Was it Mario Cuomo?
Andrew Cuomo. Here's owner, ladies and gentlemen.
Control that.
Wait, what do you? Who's got sound going on there?
Homer.
Not now.
Homer Eldridge.
Anyway,
What?
I wish everybody would put their real names up there because I'm getting old and I just can't remember names. Okay, you know.
All right, my name is Jaime Schwartz.
Yeah. Well, I can do something. In fact, I did it to that guy who no longer calls the program, and I change. I can go in and change your names if I want to. You know. But on his, I changed it to asshole. And I don't think he knows I did it. And I'm sure anytime he uses Zoom now, it says asshole. So, you know. But no, I have the power to change your names. Let's see. Brian Neary's using Brian Neary. And Jason is using owner.
The Mexicans have taken back. I'm the owner now.
Mexicans have taken back. Boy. Yeah. Hello, John Larkin. How are you doing there in San Francisco in the Tenderloin District?
Oh, I'm okay. I just was watching this this thing on HBO called Agents of Chaos.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's,
What's it about?
It's about the Russian interference. in the
Oh,
election.
that's the thing that Gibney did, Alex Gibney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Boy, the smell is still here. How long is that going to stick around, Charlie?
Well, to air the place out, open up all the windows.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I got a fan in here. It was in the other room, and the smell came in here. Son of a bitch. Anyway, so yeah, I've been wanting to watch that.
It's good.
Let me see here. What else was what I was doing today is I have this video game I bought months ago, and they say if you start at the beginning of this video game and you're good at it, it'll take you 60 hours. And I stopped playing it for a while because I got to a point where I hit this one place where these people were always killing me, always killing me, always killing me. I just got tired of it, and I figured go away for a while, you come back to the game, and you can get right through it. And sure enough, went back to the game. These guys attack me. Boom, boom, boom. I shoot them. I leave. You know, and we go on with the game. But so I start playing these things, and all of a sudden I notice I start at 1 in the afternoon, and now it's 6. Marjorie is saying, "Time for dinner, dear." You know, you get so into this. And on top of that, I've been having this thing lately where I'm lightheaded and tired and so on. I get so loopy from playing these things. And it was the same way a year ago, too. I mean, it just absolute, but I just can't stop. So I'm back to playing this game, and, you know.
What is it?
It's called The Last of Us, Part 2. I didn't play Part 1. And it is probably the best-selling game in the world right now.
You're a PS4 person,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And it is, in fact, HBO is making it into a series. I mean, you know, people don't realize this. Marjorie goes, "Are you going to play your little game?" She thinks I'm playing Pong, you know. And I'm sorry to begin with, I have carpal tunnel syndrome here going on from the boom boom. And I have to inform her that they're a little more sophisticated than that now. It's like you're watching a movie, like you're playing a movie. You are the movie. And it has a plot and everything, you know. And the people on the screen look so real. It's really incredible. Yes.
Well, would you think if somebody who's never ever played any video games, maybe like Pac-Man or something like that, would somebody like that's me, would I be able to get into it? Would I be able to play it?
I don't know if you would want to. You know, I mean, I'll tell you how I got hooked on these. I like the
Tomb Raider.
The first-person games where they go through an adventure or something like that, and they have to do things. And the one that I started out with years ago, and it was just a stick figure, was Tomb Raider. And then it got more sophisticated,
Yeah, you just like bending her over looking at her ass.
Right, you can make her go back and forth and everything. But then it got so sophisticated that, I mean, it was like I was in a real world, you know, and you had to learn how to jump up to things and swing across stuff. This is more of a first-person shooter game and fighting game where you're in this world which has gone into chaos. There seemed to have been a virus, I think, that happened. And
that's me.
That's you. Did your
Roblox with Adrian?
Really? Oh boy.
That's as sophisticated as I get. She plays Roblox and I play with her. She's
Anyway, so I really got into doing these what I call first person shooters. They're not really that, but they're adventure games. You have to solve puzzles and figure out how you're going to get through this and how you're going to get out of this building. And, you know, in some cases you got to fight the zombies. Other ones you got to fight the bad people. And I've been into that for maybe the last 20 years, 25. That's my little secret. I never talk about it on the air much. But I really enjoy playing these kinds of games. But there aren't enough of the kinds of games I like. You know, some of them, to begin with, are badly done, you know, and most of them don't have a story. It's just like, you know.
And that's why you need to get the Xbox, too, so you can do Halo.
I don't want Halo. I've seen
Halo is awesome. Like I got out of video games. When I was a kid and it was a Nintendo and you just had A, B, you know, up, down, left, right. I was fine with that. Yeah. But then when you started getting the multiple joysticks, I'm the generation like where I didn't get introduced to computers until a certain time, and then it became too complicated. And then as I became an adult, then it almost became second nature. You know, now I'm working 2 joysticks, 6 buttons, and then you got 2 on the top also. It's so much crap going on, but then it becomes second nature.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're going boom, 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 boom. You know, and in this case, we've also got zombies that are just, you know, the people who survive the virus.
Survive Trump.
Yeah. Oh boy. You know, but I mean, that's been my little secret all these years that I play these games. But you know. I like to be in a world that's slightly more apocalyptic than the one I live in. And it turns out now that it's less apocalyptic than the world I live in right now. So, you know.
Simon's playing Fallout 76 for a while. Now he's playing Call of Duty. But he's got one of those keyboards that's annoying. You know what, the clickers?
Yeah.
Really loud clickers.
What, did he do it on a PC?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I do mine on PlayStation. Yeah. I went to PlayStation because that was the one I've always used. You know.
But see, you, Mr. Gadget, man, you'd think like you'd have a PlayStation in one room and you'd have an Xbox in the other room just to compare them.
I don't need both. Most games come out on both. Okay. This game came out, I think, first on PlayStation. But it's, you know, I mean, the work that goes into it and these worlds they create now, you know, I mean, they're whole worlds. And I'm absolutely gobsmacked by the fact that they can even create these things. And these make more money than movies.
Yeah.
A good video game will clear several billion dollars. Yeah.
And they don't pay their people for shit
well,
either.
they're $59 a piece to begin with, although in this case you got, you know, 50 hours of entertainment, okay, and then you can play it again at a higher level and so on and so forth. And you know, I mean, a lot of work has gone into these things. Now, what they're doing is they're taking a chance because they're spending. I think this game may have cost them something like $300 million to put together, maybe more. Okay, so you're taking a chance that you're going to spend the $300 million. You're going to put it out on the market, and it's just going to lie there on the shelves. You know, so
Like a movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. They are movies, but they're movies that you're in, okay? That you're participating in, and that's what's so I think incredible about them. But anyway,
I'm afraid I'd go and buy a Xbox or whatever the other thing's called, and then I'd play it for like 5 minutes and go, "Fuck, this thing's too hard. Forget it." And it just collect dust.
When Xbox first came out, that's what I did. I bought it, and I bought one game. I'm like, dude, this is too much for me. Just too much going on in my life too. Like
they're not easy. Even I do mine at the lowest level. I do my they have like difficult and or combat hero and blah 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 blah. Mine is one the level called Pussy, and I want a challenge, but I don't want that much. This is enough of a challenge. I mean, even the lowest level. So if you just started tomorrow, John, I think you might have some problems unless you go, I'm going to beat this damn thing. I'm going to make this work.
Did you ever play Destiny? Because I think that's on PS4 too.
Destiny.
That's a pretty good one. It's a first-person shooter.
Yeah. Gee, where's Robert tonight? Robert's usually here every night. God, I get worried about you when
Yeah, he's always early.
Yeah. But usually he's one of the first ones here. But he probably had something to do tonight. He probably had. Guess what? He may have a life. So, but anyway. So our president. Oh God.
Oh,
I don't. I would like to not talk about it, but let's face it, the man is just going off the rails.
Yep.
And if anybody, by the way, again, if anybody disagrees with me or thinks Trump is just the knees bees, please call the program. I would like to hear from you. But I can't imagine anybody, unless they're a complete, utter moron, thinking that what this man's doing is all right.
He said the election's rigged unless he wins.
Yeah.
Basically, and they asked him, would you allow for a transition of power
Peaceful
to go on?
Peaceful transition of power.
Peaceful transition of power to go on, and he said, I can't say.
Yeah.
You can't say? The one thing we take pride in, that we've taken pride in since the forming of the Constitution, was the peaceful transition of power from one president to another. And you're telling us that you're going to violate that spirit? I mean, come on.
He goes, we got to if we get rid of the ballots.
We don't let people vote. Yeah. I'll accept those results.
Listen, he knows he's going to lose. The Republicans know he's going to lose. I mean, my proof, I said this last night, my proof that he's going to lose is the fact that the Republicans think he's going to lose. Otherwise, they wouldn't have cared about pushing through this Supreme Court nominee at this point. They just say, we'll wait till after the election when he's president again, and then we'll do it. All right? But no, they know he's not going to win. And if they're going to get that rigged court in place, they better do it now, because he's not going to be able to do it after he's literally been kicked to the curb.
And if that's one thing, if he even had any type of inkling that he was going to win, he'd probably sit there and be like, look, I'm going to be the good guy. You guys want to wait until the next election? Fine, I'll wait until, January.
Yeah, I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
I'll make my.
But he's already admitting he's going to lose. But what is he saying about his loss? That his loss is going to be because we're all Democrats here, rigged the election.
Well, he's working hand over fist to rig the election in his favor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he says this election's rigged, he said that last time. He said last time that, blah 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 blah, and then he won. So if it was rigged, I guess it was.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I
Because
just, huh?
they're gonna. He says that he's gonna lose the first debate also because they're gonna give him hard questions and Biden easy questions. It's like, don't they answer the same questions anyway on the debates?
You know, the hard question.
Same subjects.
Mr. Trump, what's your first name? Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Trump, what daughter haven't you fucked?
Oh yeah. What did they say about the? Didn't he say something about they asked Hillary the easy questions in the debate last time or something? He was complaining about that.
That's why he's complaining about the debate already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing, just amazing. Hard to believe. You know. Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, I talked to somebody who lives in Florida, and I said, "Look, we need to find somebody who's a Republican who can be on the show with us, okay? Because I know you've been looking to find somebody, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So I asked her because she lives in Florida. She ought to know a bunch of people. She goes, "Oh yeah, I know a whole bunch of them, but they won't talk to you." I says, "Why not?" Because all they really care about is religious stuff, people getting, having children, and finances. And they don't care about Trump. It's just kind of like.
I mean, they care about Trump. I mean, they're for Trump.
Yes, but that happens to be that guy. I mean, it's a philosophical.
They're for white America.
Approach. Yeah. Screw the Americans.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't understand how anybody with half a brain could even find this guy acceptable in his behavior. I mean, he's literally saying that if he doesn't get elected, he's going to fight it and he's going to use his full power to stay in office. Now, what's that all about?
But so I hope we do too.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Did you see him at the Ruth Bader Ginsburg's coffin?
You're not booed.
I've never heard in my lifetime a president get booed.
No.
Has anybody ever
Even
heard a
Bush.
president get booed?
Yeah, remember when he was at the World Series game last year, or was it maybe might have been it was last year.
Yeah, it was last year at the playoffs or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
When the Washington team
and he
was
got
playing.
his ass booed. So then he had to go to one of those UHF or those wrestling things, and they kind of cheered and booed him there. So then he had to go to fucking, where was it? Tuscaloosa, some NASCAR race.
NASCAR.
Some
Yeah.
Ku Klux Klan meeting.
It was a college football game of like Alabama and Arkansas or something, and he finally got cheers there.
No, folks, I don't like sitting here every night bashing him, but there's nothing else I can do. I mean, my brain will not allow me to give this guy a pass. I mean, and it's almost like he likes it. Somebody was on MSNBC tonight, which I'm getting to hate MSNBC. He was on tonight complaining, or not complaining, but saying that he thinks that underneath that mask, he was wearing, he wore a mask for one of the few times, I guess because liberals are infected. Around
Around a dead lady, he finally wears
a dead
mask.
lady,
Yeah.
he wears a
Jeez.
mask. But underneath that mask, this guy said, I bet he was smiling. Because why did he go to this thing? He didn't go to what's his name's funeral,
No.
the senator. He went to this one. It was outdoors, where there was going to be a whole bunch of people who were liberals, who he knew were going to boo him, and I think he wanted to do it because he enjoyed getting a rise out of them.
It's a power play.
It's a power play, yeah. And I think we got to be careful about playing into him.
Yeah, we've been playing into him for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The media should have fucking ignored his ass a long time ago.
Well, I don't know if booing him was good on their part or bad on their part, and I'm not talking about right or wrong. I'm talking about politically. You know, did that reinforce the people who are for him?
Yeah, it might antagonize them and make them more crazy.
Yeah. Now, you know, my theory is there's no way he's going to win this election. I mean, there's no way legally he's going to win this election. I see a real rout happening, and it's happening for this reason. It's not a Hillary prediction or rout or whatever. It is the fact that there are so many people intent on not seeing him be president for another 4 years that there's going to be an incredible turnout. They say this may be the biggest turnout in the history of an American election, presidential election.
Yeah.
And traditionally, we don't come out in great force. If that's the case, it's not because Republicans are turning out because they want to return this guy to office and they're so enthusiastic about him. It's because there are so many people out there who want to say, we can't stand you. You know, you cannot get away with this for 4 more years. So, you know. So you know, whatever. It's kind of quiet tonight. Where is everybody? Have they all given up on me finally? I mean, I hope so, because then I can stop doing this thing and I can have my nights back. You know, if you want to call us, you just go to gabnet.net, and over there on the right-hand side of the page is a column, and in the middle of that column it says in big letters, if you want to call us during the show, click here to Zoom, and you click there and you Zoom. It's just automatic. You don't have to have Zoom in your machine or anything. Yes, Charlie. By the way, here comes Bree.
I was just gonna mention that you realize that with RBG gone, Affordable Care Act is toast.
Well, you know something.
November the 10th, the Supreme Court's going to be taking, hearings about that.
I'll tell you, we don't know that, and I'm going to tell you why. Who voted for the Affordable Care Act last time it came?
It was Roberts.
Yeah.
And that made it 5-4.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that saved it was Roberts voting.
Well, I think Roberts probably figures, hey, you know, there's something that they do have in the Supreme Court, and the newer people maybe aren't into that, but what they believe is that if there's a certain amount of case law, like Roe versus Wade is so old now that it's considered case law. And they don't want, they're very reticent to change something like that. It's been enacted years ago. Yes, Jason.
The lower court already voted down.
Yes, so if it's a tie, that's the ruling that stands.
Or
it's
even
gone.
if
That's why I say it's
Roberts decides that he doesn't want to take the case on at all.
Which is it? What is this?
I'm saying if Roberts decides he doesn't want to take it on, because
again,
they can sit there and say, I'm not going to take the case on at all, just like, you know, a presidential
and that means
election.
The lower
ruling stands.
Stands, yeah. They've actually got to take it on and say no to it for the lower court ruling to go down.
Well, you got to remember, Roe versus Wade happened because there was a suit.
Yeah.
And then that suit worked its way to the Supreme Court. And at that time, the Supreme Court dictated that Roe versus Wade be the law of the land, that it was legal and legitimate. The Supreme Court is rather reticent to overrule an original court decision. In other words, if they do that, then anything they do can be overridden. And anything the next court does can be overridden. It really,
Right.
You should look at things that were passed in the taken care of in the past, and honor that court's decision. You may disagree with it today, but nevertheless, you can't bring the question up again when it was solved once before the Supreme Court. So that's why Roe versus Wade may not become a problem. Now, so far as the Affordable Care Act is concerned,
yeah, that's relatively new.
Let's say we get Biden as president. Let's say we get a Democratic Senate. All this, by the way, very possible. There's a very, very big possibility that this is going to happen. He can sit there and start doing exactly what he wants to do on his own. You know, he can start. Let's say the Supreme Court says the Affordable Care Act is toast. Bye. He can come along with a brand new act and get it passed by his Congress and by his Senate without even breathing heavy, and it probably will be more draconian than Obamacare. This will be a real nightmare, you know, for the right wingers. So, and also there's the other factor that we've been talking about. Biden says he probably won't do it, but now he's kind of hedging on whether he would do it or not. That he can add 2 more seats, 3 more seats if he wants to the Supreme Court, and then put liberals in there and even the whole thing out, you know. So all these things are rectifiable, but we're going to have to go through a lot of, as my mother used to call it, surus, to solve the problem, you know, this disaster that the Republicans have been making. And by the way, folks out there listening, when you lose your insurance, please remember the Republicans did it. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if Roe versus Wade is overturned in any way, which I doubt, just remember who did this. Okay, this is Republican doing.
When Social Security and Medicare get unfunded, Republicans did it. Remember that.
Yeah. And don't forgive them, by the way, and don't forgive Donald Trump either, because it's terrible. It's just terrible. But what's happened to this country is what is so onerous, you know, and that is that we now have someone who is approaching the attitude of a dictator.
Yeah.
Do you disagree with me, Bree, on that? I mean, he's been, you know, I mean, this latest thing is so smells so much like Banana Republic to me, you know.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I've said it before. A lot of people just don't think that our government has been working for them, and they're disheartened and they're disgruntled. And you know, I used the example before. If you have somebody parked in front of your driveway, you want that car moved, especially if you got to get going somewhere. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Biden and previous governments, they're always like, well, we better call this department, and they'll call them. And Trump would be like, move the car now. I will call the tow truck. I'll help you move it. Well, that's the kind of guy. It may be illegal, but that's the kind of guy that people want at that moment. And that's kind of how I see it.
Unfortunately, that's his con, though. He acts like that, but in fact, he doesn't do anything.
Because he has no authority.
Yeah, yep. He acts like he does, but he does. You know, he's too incompetent to do anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't think you try and move the car and it end up in your living room.
No. Yeah. I don't think he's incompetent. I just think that he.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's incompetent. Wait a minute, Bree. He's incompetent.
He bankrupted a casino.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Be more incompetent.
I think he uses the system to its maximum availability. So if you got a problem with that, you have a problem with the system, because he's good at playing the system.
They say that somebody said, and I don't know where I heard this, that since he's come into office, he's $2 billion richer.
Yeah, he's used it to amass this huge fortune.
Yeah.
Well, and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton didn't make any money.
Well, no, they made it.
Not off the presidency.
They made it
after resorts.
They made it after.
They made it after the fact, not while they were president. While they were president, in fact, they were bankrupt because of all the money they had to put out to defend Bill against all those charges and the impeachment and all of that. It was only afterwards that they got their ass in gear and they did speeches and this and that. And I mean, every president after the president do make a lot of money. The Obamas are making. They've got $100 million deal with Netflix. You know, I mean, and that's how they monetize their being president. But they're not doing it while they're president.
The Obamas did it while they were president, but
no,
what do you
how do they do it, Jason? They didn't do anything,
wasn't it?
What?
They wrote some books.
No, he wrote a book. He wrote a book before he became president.
No.
That was not released while he was president.
But Trump's got his resorts that they stay at and all this security
and everybody,
everything else.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I have a different opinion from you guys because I think all politicians try to make money all the time. So if Trump makes some money, that's
every
just the way
human being tries to make money all the time.
Well,
you try to make money all the time. I try to make money all the time.
Yeah, but you don't gin the game in your favor while you're president.
No.
But that's what I'm saying with the Obamas. If it was writing a book, it's not like it's,
there's no question the fact that you get a guy and isn't doing too well. He's doing so, and he becomes senator. And the first couple of years he's a senator, he's sleeping in his office at the Capitol. That's how much money he's got in his pocket. But somehow he's there 20 years, and now he's worth several $1 million. How did that happen?
Insider trading,
which they I think can do.
I don't know anymore, but
yeah,
up until the last couple of years.
Yeah. So I'm reaching for my soda, it's an apple.
All politicians, try to make money, but they're not supposed to make money off of, by selling their power that they have. And that's essentially what Trump is doing. He's basically,
maybe that's the time we live in.
Well, for instance, he was never willing to show us his taxes, which most people running for president do. It's almost considered obligatory. And
so used to being a money launderer, you do different things than
what I'm saying is we don't know about his finances, and we don't know what kind of deals he's making. We don't know if he's doing business dealings now because he never put his stuff in a blind trust, which most presidents do.
Well, we know from the New York Times reporting that came out when was it last year, that he's been a tax fraud his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go to jail for that when he's out of office.
No,
so he will go to jail.
Well, Cohn.
He hit the biggest payoff. President.
Yeah, Cohn. His friend Cohn. What was his first name?
Cohen. Yeah.
Myron Cohn. No.
You're talking about Roy Cohn.
Roy Cohn.
Yeah.
Taught him. He was Roy Cohn's sensei. And Roy Cohn told him a couple of things. A couple of things is, you never admit you're wrong. That's one rule. And the other one is, you never pay your bills. You never pay your bill. Roy Cohn owed money all over town, and he would just tell people, "Go screw yourselves. I'm Roy Cohn." And that's exactly what Trump did. Trump never paid off his bills. Ask the people who worked on his casinos and so on, who wound up not getting paid. The construction engineers.
Ask the illegal immigrants that he hired to build his buildings.
Yeah. So, they didn't get paid. So this is the way he's always operated. And for somebody who said, I'm going to get this country financially in good shape. How much money has this administration spent?
Yeah.
How many more billions have we added to the deficit as a result of this president?
Yeah, and that tax cut, it busted the fucking budget.
To Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did it do? Did it help the economy? I don't think the economy's doing great guns.
It helped Jeff Bezos.
If you want to measure the economy based on how many jobs it's created every month, you compare Trump to Obama, and Obama had better job creation in almost every single quarter compared to Trump.
Listen, Obama was not a great president, but he was a guy who, by the second term, learned how to be president because he cared about being president and he was a quick learner. Trump will have none of that. He doesn't care about knowing how to be president. He doesn't care to want to care about this. You know, it's funny, but what's his name who wrote the book on him? Boy, my mind's just trash. The guy,
Bob Woodward.
Bob Woodward. Today was on Nicole Wallace's show. And he said that years ago he interviewed Trump, and he said, why would you like, what if you were president, what's the job of the president? And he said, to watch out for the American people, and he had this whole list of things, none of which he's lived up to now. Somewhere along the line, he lost his grip on what being a president was supposed to be. And he's done nothing for the American people. I mean, name one thing he's done.
I got $2,400.
You got 2,000?
Didn't he have to sign that?
Yeah, I didn't get. So you can be bought, is what you're saying.
You got how much?
He and his wife. He got two of the $1,200 things. But
and he doesn't even live in this country.
Yeah, but Warren Buffett got $2 billion. You're going to be bought off for $2,400 when somebody else is getting $2 billion?
At least don't feel bad about Warren Buffett because he gives it back. You know?
Yeah, but okay, let Jeff Bezos then.
Yeah. Well, Bezos doesn't pay it forward. No.
No.
Yeah. You know, he just tells us he's buying trucks that don't use gas. You know. Oh, very nice song. Anyway, so you know, I mean, tell me what he's done, folks. I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Okay.
One of the things I like that he.
Yeah.
I can tell you a lot of things. One of the things I like is that he's gone to other countries and basically told them, you have to cough up more money for like NATO for your collective security, and also South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's making them pay more to
that's bullshit.
That is
bullshit. To have our troops there.
That's bullshit.
What he's doing is pissing off all of our allies. So we have no allies anymore.
Is it? Because I kind of do agree on that part. Like I'm not going to be a Trump does everything wrong, but you know, to have NATO chip in their fair share.
But I think they have over the years. I mean, it's all.
Yeah, the thing I'll tell you is he doesn't take a salary.
Bullshit! He spends 10 times the salary going golfing every weekend.
Right. Every time he goes golfing, his own places, he replaces.
Let me ask
replenishes
you.
His own salary.
When
He sent $100,000 to the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism.
Well,
that's fine. That's fine.
That's
fine.
Whoop-de-doo.
That's fine.
Small
but
change.
the fact is that presidents, number one, everything he does, including the toilet paper he uses, is paid for. Okay? It's not like he has huge expenses. And that's why he needs the $400,000 a year. So he could very easily say, I'm not going to take it, let other people use it, blah, 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 or I'm giving it to so-and-so.
He puts his own security up in his own resorts.
Yeah, and then he puts security that we're paying for up in his resorts.
Exorbitant prices for that too. They don't pay what
just in that alone, I think he's probably made the $400,000 back.
He's made like $2 billion off of his hotels for you know, anytime foreign dignitaries come into town, they stay at that hotel. Mm-hmm. He makes money off of that.
What was it? Mike Pence went to this thing in London.
And by the way, he does make money. He does make money off of it because he doesn't put it in a blind trust. Okay.
Blind trust 2020.
What?
He won't be able to make money off of because his people can't read, so he can't write a book after he's done. So give him some.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
They'll
his
have somebody else.
library?
Well, I can hardly wait to see the Trump library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll have about 5,000
Right.
copies of his book.
Yeah.
Bullet points and pictures,
Yeah.
charts. The charts he used at the one interview.
With the black marker.
Yeah, the big print.
Yeah. And what did he do that looked like a penis? Oh yeah, where the
hurricane
tornado
track.
was going to be, or the hurricane was going to hit.
But everything he was strong about with those other countries to get more money back, he's putting all of us in danger by being a kiss ass to Putin. You know.
Putin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
wait a minute.
just whacked everything else out.
Bree at least is being the devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Let him continue. What else has he
Yeah.
done, Bree?
I have to think.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's
Right.
not like it exactly like, oh, and he did this, and he did that, and he did this, and he did
Didn't
that.
he renegotiate NAFTA? And it's called.
It
No,
was already a
my
done deal by Obama before he
USMCA.
left
That
office.
was already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically authorized it.
Yeah.
But
And then
his,
he put his name on Obama's thing. There's really no.
Oh, I'll
difference.
give you
Yeah, but
one.
see, we
I'll
don't-
give you one.
He has unionization.
A peace accord between.
Previously, NAFTA
wait a
kept
minute.
unionization out of Mexico.
A peace accord between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Oh, wait a minute. They weren't at war, were they?
Nope.
So how do you sign a peace accord when there's no war?
Hold on a second. Bree was talking about unionization in Mexico. Unionization in Mexico is actually very strong. Go try to take a cab in Mexico and find out if your
And
cab driver is not union.
NAFTA wanted to get rid of that. NAFTA
I've been to
had-
Mexico plenty of times when NAFTA was in
NAFTA
power.
was only a bad idea.
Unions were very strong.
NAFTA was a bad idea because what it was the European Union got together and created the European Union, which took a bunch of smaller economies and made them into one big, huge economy, which was their way of kind of trying to equalize their abilities economically against the United States. So the United States, in order to say, well, we're going to make it even bigger, did NAFTA. So we got Canada, we got Mexico, we got the United States, and we have those. The only thing we didn't do was what Europe did with a common denomination, you know.
How about another thing?
Oh, okay.
How many wars did Trump start?
How many wars
How
did
many wars
Trump
did he start?
Do we count the race
Are you
war?
talking about domestic or
Race
foreign?
war.
Because there's a
Yeah, he's got
shitload
a
of
race
domestic
war going
wars
here.
he started.
He did start a lot of domestic wars, yeah.
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 Well, you could just say those were already there.
How
He
many-
just
Hey,
highlighted-
Oh, okay,
being a
well, wait a minute.
Mexican
Hold
American,
on a
I
second.
feel like I am at war.
How many wars did Obama start?
0.
And he killed them.
I'd have to look up, but I know he had some operations.
No, he had operations, but so
And
did we
continued
under
war.
Trump. 0.
Because that was when he killed who? Who?
Bin Laden.
Was it that he
Bin
killed?
Laden.
Osama bin Laden. Oh yeah, he did that.
Yeah, he inherited the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War,
Yeah.
and the
But
war. on
there-
terror.
Well, he inherited from Bush.
Oh, but I
Bush-
can tell you some that he did indirectly help. There is
Amen.
some truth to the fact that when we gave Iran back that money,
It was
and we
ordered
shook
by
the
the
hand.
World Court.
They used that to fund Hezbollah.
By the World
It was
Court.
their money.
Court.
To begin with, it was their money, Bree. The World Court said they had to give it back. Is that who said they had to give? We had to give it
Yeah,
back.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
pretty much the consensus of the the world that's to keep to keep Iran from getting or making a fucking nuclear bomb.
It was money.
part of the deal.
It was
money
money in the American banks that we were holding on to and not releasing back to Iran when they wanted it back.
Because there was a power change in Iran at a certain point in time when we had their money.
Yeah.
And we got
during the
really
revolution.
our hissy fit goes all the way back to when they threw out our dictator over there, the Shah of Iran.
Oh, we
And-
helped in the coup to get rid of that guy back in '53. Their original president. Remember back, what was his name? Mossadegh. He nationalized all the oil companies, and Britain and the CIA,
Yeah.
got in there and had him, deposed.
Yeah. But there were really no wars under Obama, so I'd say that Obama probably he certainly Obama created a slightly safer world than Trump has, because Trump is annoyed and so many other people that he's really caused a lot of disdain against us.
Do you remember at the end of the Obama administration, everybody thought for sure we were going to war with North Korea, and since Trump, I think they launched maybe one missile. They were launching a missile every week during the Obama administration. I mean, it was really coming to.
Yeah,
we thought it was
ran
going
out.
to be war.
I don't think that realistic people thought.
No,
that
nobody thought we were
with
going
North
to
Korea,
Yeah,
because that would have
I think
lasted like
Trump
2 weeks.
placated-
North Korea.
That war would have lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah, all he was doing was saber rattling, and he knew. Even he knew he's not this much of an idiot.
Trump, okay, I'll give you another one.
No, wait a minute. Let me finish.
Trump,
Even he knew that he could not send one of those missiles to the United States, because before it even got there, we will have shot it down, and there will be one coming in his direction that would annihilate North Korea. So that was something he didn't want to do. He just wanted to posture. Okay.
And North Korea almost got into a shooting war with South Korea last year on the border. Remember that?
Yep.
So
That's under Trump.
yeah, that's
But
because,
I'm curious. Bree was saying.
But by the way, that relationship
give
between
you
North
more.
Korea and Trump has completely evaporated.
Yep, no more love there.
No more love there.
Really?
Bree's gonna give us more. I want to hear. I'm curious.
Okay, he founded the Space Force.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Other countries have done this.
So did
and
Marvel.
we
did that.
actually-
Wait a minute. So did Marvel Comics. Okay.
Fantastic Four.
Space Force
I'm
is the
not really
first new military
against the
service
Space War.
since the Air Force in 1947.
And what is it?
And what is it?
Who's in the
Well,
Space Force?
it became a series on Apple TV.
Netflix.
Or was it Netflix? No, it was Apple TV or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think it was Apple TV.
Yeah.
No,
When you can
Netflix,
point
because
to
I've been
troops
watching
that are in
a
the
little
Marines or the Air Force or the Army, where are the troops that are in the Space Force?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you?
bit. Hey, they're just starting
you-
because Michigan is starting to bid for it. My area is
Have
starting
you
to bid
been-
for the Space Force headquarters.
Yeah, right.
Why
They
is
hadn't done
it?
it yet.
I would say the Space Force should just be an outgrowth from the Air Force.
And that's what
Well,
it is. But
Did you watch the Netflix show? That's what they tried to say. Steve Carell's character said, "No way, it's its own thing."
Yeah, right. So
How about the First Step Act?
the First Step Act, what was that?
Yeah, yeah. That wasn't even comparable to what Obama did, though, because the First Step Act was for prison, people in prison and rehabilitate them, and it was a good thing, but it wasn't even comparable to what Obama did.
Well, he was also thinking of himself too, because he may
Yeah.
have to utilize that program someday.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think he was thinking of himself. He was
And-
thinking of what's her name's ass, wasn't he?
Yeah, Kim
Yeah.
Kardashian.
There's another one that you could argue. I heard this recently in the news that he has totally reshaped the federal judicial system. That he's made more appointments. Now
Yep, all right.
he said then Obama. So what was Obama doing? Like, why didn't Obama appoint all
Because
those?
he was being
Obama
blocked
did it.
by all
blocked.
the
Why was
McConnell
he
would
taking so-
would not hold any hearings for him. Mitch
No.
McConnell blocked every fucking appointment Obama made.
Yeah, that's why they couldn't get any judges appointed because of fucking McConnell.
He's been reshaping the judicial system to be right wing so hardcore. Yeah, that's not good. It should
Like
be.
I steal your
didn't
wallet
he
and say, "How
defeat-
come you don't have any money?"
Yeah.
He claims he claims that he has defeated the ISIS caliphate. I mean, that was a growing threat in Iraq.
Yeah,
Actually, that was
But they were so minuscule. They wouldn't have been defeated
that was more
by anybody.
that was started under Obama. Okay.
Yeah, and he turned over the whole Syrian war to Russia.
Yeah.
So now,
Okay, now
Turn
let's
his back on the
let's
Kurds.
okay for a second, Bree, and thank you for bringing those things up because we like to hear all the wonderful things that he's done. Now let's talk about the things he's done that were bad. Anybody want to start? We just lost Bree. Anybody want to start?
And I mean, you could go on and on.
Well, wait a minute.
It's
Wait
just
a
that,
minute. Hold
you
on a
know,
second.
I don't like.
Say what? What, Bree? Bree?
He's also done tax reform.
Yeah, that helped
You know,
the rich.
and-
It didn't
and-
help me.
It didn't help me.
Tax reform,
People
but he
like
hasn't
me.
paid his taxes.
It has, some have claimed that you know that it has helped individuals.
No,
they were wrong though.
they're wrong.
Yeah, but
More
only-
people had to pay.
Well,
than-
21%.
Make $300,000 a year, then you probably got a good, a
Yeah.
reduction on your taxes. If you made 30,000, 40,000, or 50,000, you got what? Maybe $100.
Lucky if you got $100.
Yeah.
So I am a person who likes to get taxed throughout the year, so I get a tax return at the end of the year. My paycheck did go up, but my tax return at the end of the year went way down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You actually ended up paying more
So-
in taxes.
Yeah, so I was paying more. It really didn't help me at all.
You made money in the short term, but you gave it back when you filed.
And there's kind of your average American. Your income is probably average, right?
Yeah.
You know, and
I am what the average American should be
Yeah.
making.
you shouldn't have been hit with higher taxes.
No.
You know, my
That's the
taxes.
way
In
it was
fact, my
built.
taxes
And it was
between my
built to
wife and
fool
I,
you.
my taxes between my wife and I went up because of Trump.
He deliberately did that so that you would think you were getting money back,
Look at
and you
Joe.
would think the tax cut was good for you until you actually filed for taxes the next year.
And then he found out, I was like, oh shit.
And the latest thing he wants to do is he wants to do away with the payroll tax. You know what the payroll tax is?
No.
Social Security.
100%.
He wants to do away with your old age safety net. Not much of a
Back to
safety
living
net.
under bridges.
Huh?
So we'll be back to seniors living under bridges.
Listen, this senior's about ready to. One night you're going to see me doing the show from under a bridge. You know, at the rate things are going. You know, it's just. And of course, look, all the one thing that beats anything else that he did there, Bree, was his handling of coronavirus. Okay? Plain
He's
and
draining
simple.
the swamp.
Yeah, he is draining
Draining
the
the
swamp.
swamp. He is the fucking swamp.
There's 200,000 fewer mouths to feed.
You know, I understand that he was caught in the middle of a very terrible, terrible situation. But, be that as it may, he didn't do anything about it. And so,
He lied
therefore,
about it.
if we have 200,000 deaths, I'd say at least 150,000 of those are on his back and is at his doorstep. And he doesn't even think about that. You know, he doesn't care.
Well, for
You
him
understand
and a
it.
lot of the Trump followers, it's okay. You know, it's not a bad thing to die, because if you've lived a good life, read the Bible, you're going to heaven. So you get to meet your maker quicker.
Yeah, but maybe you don't want to meet your maker
Yeah.
really
that's them,
earlier
not me.
than you should have. You
I'm
know?
an
That was the
atheist.
argument.
I'm
for
glad
George
I'm
Bush.
an
Everybody said
atheist.
George Bush is.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist. I don't want to hear that shit. I
Yeah.
want to live.
You know, I mean, you know, so I mean, all I'm saying is that we can put all the little things he did, you know, because as we all know, a stopwatch is right twice a day. And you can put that against the negatives, and the negatives are it's just like this, okay? You know, I mean, I can't see
Yeah,
that.
you mentioned about the kids in cages at the border.
Kids in cages
Oh,
at the
yeah.
borders. We can go on and on. I mean, things that have. I think what he's done is he has physically destroyed America and what America was considered to be, at least in its own mind. We're no longer this wonderful country that does wonderful things and helps people and is considerate and, whatever. Bree?
No, Alex, you give him way too much credit. If we are those things, then we are those things. Without Trump or with him, if he exposes, he's a catalyst, he exposes the things in our system. I give him credit for exposing us. We need to go in there and fix these things for the future.
Well, it's a very good point, because my feeling, and I'm frightened about it. Yes, I think Biden's going to win. I think he's going to win by a lot of people. I think that we're going to get the Senate. We're going to get the Congress. But it's only a matter of time before we get another Trump, because this country was capable of voting this one into office.
By Bree's logic, you could say Hitler was good for Germany because he exposed the weakness in their system. By that logic, I mean that don't make sense.
Well, so much time.
Do you think that Germany is a better country today? I mean, the thing is that a lot of times, and I don't take that comparison lightly. I don't think Trump's anywhere near that. He is to a large extent an opportunist. And the America gave him, through the system, gave them this opportunity. It's our fault as much as it is his.
I agree.
Oh, it's our fault. I mean, but what I'm saying is I'm worried that, yes, we, right now, momentarily, because we're hurting, have learned our lesson. But have we learned our lesson 8 years from now? And is the next Trump going to be able to come along and do the same thing again, only worse? Yes, Tony.
Yeah. We know he's not a Hitler, but here's one thing that Biden should use. The Bob Woodward interview, when he had him on the audio for his interview on the phone, and he told him, Bob, you know how bad this virus is? Somebody sneezed in the White House. We all cleared out of the room. 2 weeks later, Bree, in public, he's panning it down. And his whole rhetoric is, I don't want to panic people. Maybe you should have panicked people and said, wear a mask. He knew to tell them there how deadly it was.
Well,
they scattered out of the room. So he might not have turned on the ovens, but he sure as hell didn't put a fire out.
I'll tell you something. Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo. Read us the riot act here and said, it's terrible. It's horrible. What happened? We cleaned up. We cleaned up. So, telling people that he already had an example that telling the truth is a positive thing rather than a negative thing. So, what can I say?
There's
all
a
I'm
difference
saying
between
is
withholding the truth and telling actual lies.
Right.
Yeah,
Trump told actual lies.
Cleared out of the room when they sneezed. You know what that tells me?
And he continues to hold these. He continues to hold these crowd parties, whatever rallies,
Yeah.
Well, listen. The theme is playing, so I have to call our Antifa meeting to a close.
Oh.
And there is the mascot for Antifa, Adrian. What are you eating? Is that corn?
Cream.
Huh?
Popsicle.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay.
Ice cream. We scream. We all scream for ice cream.
Yes.
ice cream, chillin'. Ice cream,
what kind of ice cream is that? What is it?
It's a boba drink. It's boba drink in a ice cream.
Oh.
Tea alive?
Right. Milk tea ice cream with boba.
Anyway, I want to thank Jeff, and I want to thank Charlie, and I want to thank Brian, and I want to thank Adrian, and I want to thank Jason. Good to see you again, Jason. Good to see you, John, and Tony. Always fine to see you, and Bree from Kuala Lumpur. Everybody, would you give a big wave goodbye? And I, as usual, give a big wave goodbye back at you. Okay, there they go. And that's our citizen panel for tonight. There's another citizen panel that's going to be assembling in just a few minutes, right here with Jack Bishop on the intersection. He uses Skype, however, and that address is Gabnet Live is what you call on that one. He'll tell you how to do it. Anyway, I'll see you again tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. and stay safe and wear a mask. Night, everybody.